Well, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the legend himself, a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, the fabulous Ray Price, the Cherokee Cowboy. Ray, how are you?
Doing fine, pal. How's it going up in New Hampshire?
Oh, everything's just fine around here. It's a real honor to have you on my program, and I'd like to thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
You're a true legend. And, well, I guess let's start at the beginning, if we could.
All right.
I guess I'd first like to ask you, how old were you when you first started to sing, or you learned that you had the ability and loved to sing?
Well, when I was just a kid, I sang all the time. I don't know why, I just did. It didn't mean anything by it, and I got kind of caught in college and discovered, I don't know why, but they figured that I could make records, and I got a record contract, and then I found out I liked it so much I quit college. I got too smart, see. Because
you were going to be, you were going to school to become a veterinarian, weren't you?
Right.
And so I guess you started singing at Roy's House Cafe, and that was in Dallas, Texas?
That was in Dallas,
In Dallas, and then that, well, it kind of led you down a totally different road than you had originally planned, I guess, to go down.
Just a little bit.
And
so everything worked fine, though.
So, with the assistance from Dallas recording entrepreneur Jim Beck, you made your first records for the Nashville-based Bullet label, and
right.
That was late 1949, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
And so, what was it like to record your first records? How did it feel?
Well, I didn't know how to feel. It was so strange to me. We just went in and sang it. I hadn't figured out what kind of style I should be trying to use anything. So
sure.
I just sang it. It worked all right, but one record is all they wanted.
Sure.
And the next one I went with Columbia.
And so after you made your first record there for Bullet, you started singing on some Dallas-based radio programs, including the Big D Jamboree, which is a very
right.
well-known...
Every now and then they'd let me on, that's right.
And your work impressed peer Southern Publishing executive Troy Martin, who steered you to a contract with Columbia, and that was in 51, right?
Right.
And so you come to Nashville to record, and you were sort of taken under the wing of one of your fellow greats in country music, a man by the name of Hank Williams, if I understand correctly.
Right. Troy Martin got me on Hank's radio show on Friday nights, and we become fast friends, and then he got me on the Grand Ole Opry, and I lived with him the last year of his life.
Sure. Do you think you'd be able to tell us just a little bit of something that you learned from Hank, or how he affected your career, your early career?
Well, I learned that when you go out on the stage, try to be yourself. That's the whole thing.
Sure. He was quite a natural performer,
right.
As
if
yourself.
You can be yourself, and you sing good enough, they'll like you. And when you try to put on something that's not there, it don't work.
Yeah. Those are wise words, and Hank was a true legend like yourself, and he also wrote one of your early releases for you, too, Weary Blues from Waitin'.
Yeah, actually, he and I both wrote that together, but
okay.
I was tied up with another company, so I couldn't put my name on it.
Ah, the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, that was it. Try to keep ahead of the thieves.
Yeah, there was probably from what I understand, there was kind of a lot of that going on back there. People would buy songs from other artists and put their name on it and do all sorts of strange stuff.
In various degrees, they're still doing it.
I bet.
Yeah.
And so, but anyways, your recording of the tune, and with Hank's help, well, the song sold well enough that you were able to make an appearance on the Grand Ole Opry and eventually gained Opry membership in 52.
Right.
And did you consider achieving Opry member status a certain milestone in your early career?
I knew that it was the place to be, that if you wanted to showcase, that was it. And, of course, I was lucky that Hank got me on, and I was on it for 16 years before
sure.
I moved back to Texas, and quite an experience.
Now, when I listen, well, at least when I listen to some of your early hit recordings like Talk to Your Heart and I Can't Go Home Like This, I feel they reveal some of Hank's influence on your music.
They do. That's exactly right.
Now, were you trying to somewhat imitate Hank? Because you don't sound entirely like him, but you can tell in the way you approach the vocals and even some of the instrumentation, it sounds like Hank Williams.
At that time, the reason why I sounded that way, I had Hank's band.
Sure.
The Drifting Cowboys, and you couldn't sound anything but like Hank.
No, sure. Was Don Helms still working with him then?
Bless his heart, we buried him last month.
Yeah, I know. I was sad to hear. I saw Vince Gill's wonderful tribute on the Opry to him, with Tommy White playing one of the old classic lap steels.
Yeah.
And that was real great. I was real sorry to hear about his loss, because he really helped define an era of country music.
Oh, yeah, and we were real close friends all the time since 1952. It's like losing my brother.
Sure. And well, yet again, I'm very sorry.
But everything's going fine. I know he's in a good place, so we're all right.
Sure. See him again someday.
Oh, yeah, I hope.
But from the start of your recording career, you recorded in the traditional honky-tonk style, following in the footsteps of Hank Williams. And many of your other early recordings became hits, such as Release Me and I'll Be There, and some of those we've heard earlier and we'll hear again. Wasted Words, one of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in 1956, a #1 hit of yours, Crazy Arms, came along, which left an everlasting brand on country music, and by doing so, you really changed country music forever. Or at least what country music used to be before it... country music didn't really become country music. I mean, country music today is not really country.
The country music today they're trying to sell is not country. It's really rock and roll.
Sure.
But by using a steel guitar and telling the kids it's country, they believe it, and it's not fair to the kids. They very seldom hear real country music.
Sure, and
in a lot of cases, it's a whole lot better than what they like now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when I'm giving a performance with my band, I perform a lot here in the area. Mm-hmm. And people come up to me afterwards, especially younger folks, and say, wow, I've never heard that kind of music before. And I said, well, it's country music. And they said, well, I always thought I liked country music, but that's not anything like what I heard now, which I also enjoy. And of course, some of the older folks say, wow, I can't believe someone is still playing that music here, because they don't get a chance to hear it at all in this area other than from records.
They don't get to hear their music. That's exactly right.